For this exercise, we'll practice some of the coding in isolation so that we can get a feel for each of the different kinds of marks. On these first pages, we'll practice accurate reading, and we will also practice substitutions. To the beach. It was spring vacation, and Harry and his big dog Mudge were going to the beach. Mudge has never been to the beach. Draw a line, and we'll move to the next page. On this page, we will practice self-corrects. Henry promised he would like it. You'll like the waves, he said. And the salt sea sand castles and the shells. But don't drink the water, he warned. Too salty. Let's go over the answers and see how you did. Spring was substituted for summer, followed by Harry, substituted for Henry. Keep in mind that substitution, if later in the text the child did that again, it would only be one error, just the first time, because it's a proper noun. Has for had, and been for been. Then we moved on to trying some self-corrects, right? So a self-correct is a substitution or an error followed by correcting the mistake, and this will not count against the child. Prommed, and then corrected it to promised. Love, and then corrected it to like. You will, and then corrected it to you'll. And the reason I have that you will on one line is because if the child had not self-corrected, because this is a contraction, it would have only been one error. And then this was multiple attempts, salt and sea, and then corrected it to sand. If you didn't get them all, you might want to rewatch this section of the video. If you feel ready, you can move on. In this section, we will practice omissions, insertions, repetitions, and rereading. They in the car. Henry's father. In Henry's big bag were green goggles, a yellow and white bucket, an shovel, and a big dump truck. Now draw a line, and we'll move to the next page. In Mudge's bag were a blue bowl, a jug of water, half of a bone, and a tennis ball. On this next page, we will practice an appeal, a you try it, and told. In, I don't know, you try it. Henry's father's bag were a book about shells, 6, I don't know. You try it. And then the teacher says, towels, and a red lobster he liked to bring along. Let's stop there and check how we're doing. Omitted the word with, inserted the word big, inserted the word and, inserted the word white, omitted the word orange, inserted the word big. And a reminder that both omissions and insertions each count as an individual error. On the next page, we practiced repeats and repetitions. This indicates that these words were repeated one time. This indicates the word was repeated twice. This indicates it was a repetition that went back 3 words, and this was a repetition that went back 4 words or the whole line. Neither repeats nor repetitions count as errors. They're both 0 errors. On the last page, we tried appeals, you try it, and tolds. Both appeals and you try it do not count as an error, but when the teacher tells the word, that will in fact count as an error. In this case, the word was Henry's, the child appealed, the teacher said you try it, but the kid got it. Here, the word was towels, the child appealed, the teacher said you try it, but then the teacher told them. And here, this was an accident. I accidentally left out the word rubber, so that was an omission. If you're doing pretty good, you can move on to the next section. If not, rewind and watch that part again. In this final section, we will practice pauses, sound it out, spell it aloud, and try that again. They, S-A-N-G, sang sea songs all the way. Henry's father, S-A-I-D, yo ho ho, about 100 times. Henry acted like a shark. Mudge just wagged. They couldn't wait to get there. Draw a line, new page. The forever sea. I see it, Henry shouted. The ocean was waiting. It was oh, blue, and white, white, and forever. Draw a line, new page. Henry's father, Mudge, barked. And then the teacher said, try that line again. Honked the car horn, Mudge barked. They parked the car and ran for the same. Let's look at these final sections and see how you did with the scoring. So with these words, sang, S-A-N-G, the way that you show that the child said the letters, spelled it, is with these little dashes in between the letters. If the child gets the word correct, you're going to put that check mark, but if the child never pulled it together, then you're going to leave it, and that's going to be an error where that one is not. Okay, then down here you'll see these pause slashes. The more pauses that you, or the more slashes that you make, the longer that the pause was. Okay, and again, those pauses are not an error. On the next page of the text, there were a lot of sounding out. Okay, so sounding out the word in itself is not a problem. It does not count against the child. There is no error unless the child never sounds out the correct word, right? But in all the cases on this page, eventually the child came up with the correct word. And again, you're sort of using the slashes on the side to represent the phonemes or the sounds. So sh, b, bull, blue, blue, why, or. Okay, that's kind of how that goes. Then down at the bottom, honestly, this one is the hardest. This is try that again. So you're going to put in brackets the part that the child tried again, but then you have to use the repeat symbol to go back to where they started. And then you're going to want to put check marks in when they've corrected it. Again, that one's really hard. The important thing here is that a try that again is one error just for saying try that again, even if the child is able to get all of the words when they go back and try it again. I think you're at the point now where you're ready to take on some of this coding with real kids. Good luck.